the issues that Christianity, the challenges the church encountered. We have talked about persecution. There was also beyond those persecutions where people were butchered between 200 and 300 AD in Egypt. Of course, the challenges of Christianity in Egypt are not just the coming of Islam. There was other issues within the Roman Empire. Because North Africa was part of the so-called the Great Roman Empire, were being seen as not Judaism, but as another dangerous religious cult or something of the sort in the Roman Empire. They were done very harmful things during the various Roman emperors, including Severus 202 to 2012 AD, Decius 250 AD, Diocletian 303 to 306. They went through hell. Another challenge is heresies and controversies. There was a lot of false teaching that started emerging. As early as 319, the African church in Egypt was challenged by heresy called Arianism, named after its proponent, a priest from Alexandria called Arius. Arius denied that the Son and the Father are not equal. They are not co-substantial. They are not co-eternal. How can the Father be greater than the Son be greater than the Father? He would ask his team of adherents, and they would buy that teaching. Of course, the Council of Nicaea, done in 325 AD under Emperor Constantine, who had converted to Christianity in a sense. In that council, Arianism and Arian himself and his team, the Arianism, were condemned as heretic. A heretic is a false teacher. Another challenge of heretical false teaching group or sect is monophysitism. Monophysitism, who had an argument on one nature doctrine, whose heresy was on one nature doctrine. It was proposed by a man by name Nestorius, the Bishop of Constantinople, around the year 430 AD, where he argued that Christ's divine and human nature were in some ways separable. So he separated God, Jesus as truly man, as Nicene Creed, then the Council of Nicaea that produced Nicene Creed that we hear today in the church, summarized that the true Christian doctrine is Christ is truly man and Christ is truly God. So he came up to say he cannot have the two natures. He's separating the two natures. That is Nestorius, a man by name Nestorius, who was a bishop of Constantinople. And so he said Christ and only one nature, and not two. His teaching emphasized the divine nature of Christ to the extent of overlooking his human nature. And that was a very serious, divisive teaching by this great guy called Nestorius. The other challenge, of course, that I've already mentioned that came during that time is the challenge of Islam. The Arabic conquest in the year 640 AD was the turning point of the church in Egypt. United and strengthened in their new faith, the Arabs invaded the whole of the Fertile Crescent, that is, the countries from Egypt to Iraq to Egypt. Their conquests, driven by economic reasons, were in their eyes fully justified by the idea of jihad, or the holy war, aimed at the forceful submission of the whole world to God, the Allah. The reactions of Christians in Egypt were varied. Some fled, like the Greeks, some converted to Islam, while some resisted. Now, the general attitude of the Arabs was that of toleration, but with some discriminations. The Arabs formulated a policy regarding those who remained faithful to their Christian faith. The discriminatory registration formulated in the so-called Covenant of Omar, reduced the Christians to tax-paying, second-class citizens without economic opportunities. So those are some of the challenges that faced the church in Egypt, the early part of the life of Christianity in Africa.